i.e. someone that got married because they wanted the divorce.
Yeah, I'm sure I have met. So I've met people because I'm in the high net worth and ultra high net worth space. High net worth we define as like 10 to a few hundred million, and ultra high net worth is like 500 million and up. In those spaces, yeah, there certainly are people that get married to a wealthy person for what will be great financial benefit. But a lot of them are not planning on cashing the chips out necessarily. They see it as a possibility. But they more often are like, oh no, I'd like to ride this ride as long as possible because the amount of money I'm going to have access to with this person is much greater than even if I divorce and take some of their things. So that is certainly, the overwhelming majority of people, like 99.999% of clients I have met in a 25-year career, did not mean to get divorced. They move towards divorce, and eventually, many of them go, oh yeah, I saw early on we were doomed. But love is so intoxicating. We fall in love so fast, and we really do have a tendency to, in the early days, we tend to just be so forgiving of a person. I mean, thank God that passes to some degree. Could you imagine that, when you first are with your romantic partner, they brush up against you and it's electric, that feeling, what would we as a world get stuff done if we felt like that forever about our romantic partner? If 10 years into the relationship, when your partner brushed up next to you at the sink, you went oh God, you wouldn't get anything done. You wouldn't get anything done. We would be a very unproductive world. So thankfully that fades and changes. I hope it never goes completely away for any couple, but it becomes manageable. You start to see this person a little more clearly, hopefully still with tremendous optimism.
What's the quickest marriage you've ever represented?
Quickest marriage and divorce?
Yeah.
Marriage is 72 hours.
From marriage to divorce?
From marriage to divorce. Yes. Marriage to annulment in that situation. But I've seen divorces that were 72 hours.
Were they drunk? What was the...
Yeah, in one it was that they were drunk. In one it was, I don't know how to put it. It was almost like a game of chicken that went too far. They had just sort of started dating, and one of them was like, I bet you wouldn't get my name tattooed on you. And they're like, oh yeah? And then they went and got their name tattooed on each other. And then they were like, well, I bet I like you, so I'd get an engagement ring. And then they went and got an engagement ring. And they were like, oh yeah, well, would you marry me? And then they got married. And then I think they probably had a great night. That night was that might've been some mind-bending sex. But then 2 days later, they were like, wait, you don't actually want to have kids? Oh, because I do. And and they realized they were just fundamentally incompatible people.
Have you seen any patterns there with compatibility then? So if a couple walks in and they've been together for, I guess, when you look back at the types of people you've represented, is there a certain length of engagement and boyfriend-girlfriend phase that is typically conducive with it working or not working?
No, I don't see that pattern. I'm very fixated on pattern recognition, so I'm constantly thinking, I'm always looking at same religion, different religions, or religious versus non-religious, or older and younger, older man, younger woman, younger man, older woman, what permutation, same culture, different culture, same races, different races, first generation to the US, or, both first generation or neither. I don't see those patterns. If I did, I'd be the first to say it. I don't hesitate to say stuff, but I've not seen those patterns. I have found, if I was to say there was any pattern, it really is, I think substance use is probably the main thing. That if one or both people are big drinkers or drug users, that's usually a good indication that the marriage is going to lead to divorce, because substance use issues tend to get worse in either both people, which causes all kinds of second-order effects, or more commonly, one person when they have kids or when they reach a slightly different stage in life, scales back on alcohol or drug use, and the other person has an unhealthy relationship with the substances and it gets further down, and that's the direction that it goes.